Hey there, Abby Ashley here. I am so pumped for this free virtual assistant training. I've been training virtual assistants for over 10 years now. Literally have had over 7,000 people go through my program, have 150,000 VAs in my community. I am in this world day in and day out, and I've been able to see what works and what doesn't. And so when I had a few people come to me and say, Abby, we would love a full virtual assistant training. How do you really get this thing started? I thought, let's do it. So I want you to cozy up, grab a pen and paper. This is a longer training, but I know you're going to get a lot of information from it. Let's jump in. All right, this is the complete guide to how to start a virtual assistant business, even if you are a complete beginner. This free tutorial is going to lead you step by step through the complete process. In this training, I'm going to show you the best solution for creating a life where you can work from anywhere, set your own schedule, and replace your full-time income even if you don't have a degree, a website, or any prior experience. I'm literally going to pull back the curtain through not just my experience, yes, my experience, but also the literally thousands of students that I have trained and show you what is really working in today's market, because I want you to have stories like these. Heather, who says, I'm freaking out. I booked my first long-term retainer client from a post introducing myself. I literally did everything the Savvy system, that's this program that I'm showing you, taught me, literally step by step. This works. I started the Savvy system less than 2 weeks ago and I landed my first client, signed a contract, paid invoice, super excited to get started. And Alexa, who says, I want to cry, closing out March, signing on a new client, which brings my month to $3 shy of 4.8 thousand. I couldn't have got here without making the choice to jump into this program. So I want you to get results like these, because I was in a similar place as you. When I started my business, it was back in 2015, and I was looking for a way to make money working from home. Now, my situation may have been a bit different from you. I was actually 6 months pregnant when I started my business. I had a 2-year-old at home. I had quit my full-time job to be at home with my 2-year-old. I was nannying to try to pick up some income on the side, but honestly, we were really struggling financially. And with the idea of having, a baby, a number 2 baby coming soon, I knew that we needed more income, but I didn't want to necessarily have to go back to work. Honestly, I couldn't afford to go back to work with the previous salary I had been making. And, I had this feeling that I wanted to really be there for my kids. And I think a lot of that came from my upbringing. No, I was brought up with a single mom, and my mom, after my parents split up, actually decided to go and get a job as a lunch lady. She was previously a stay-at-home mom, and she got that job so that she could be there for us. I mean, she was working in the same school that we were at, so she was literally in close proximity, and she was able to, take off the summers and still work similar hours to us. And even though we didn't have a lot financially, the one thing like seared into my brain is that my mom was there. And so when I had kids of my own, I wanted to be able to go to every field trip, right? I wanted to be able to be there, to be home with them when they were sick. And so that was just this resounding, like, that is what I want, because that's what I was shown. And honestly, it all comes back to freedom, right? And freedom has always been my why. And in some ways, it's probably your why too. You might not have the exact same story, but there's probably a freedom life that you have thought about. This is what I really want. And it's probably what's driving you to even watch this video today, right? Is that there is some kind of freedom life that you have wanted to create it. Now, for me, a big part of that has also been travel. Even when we were broker than broke, when I was a college student, I actually made a goal to leave the country every single year and did so successfully in my 20s. And I've continued that spirit of adventure even with kids. We went and actually visited one of our students that lives in Brazil about a year ago with our kids. We're taking our kids on adventures with us. And that's because travel is just a big part of my life. It's a big part of my why. And if I worked a typical 9 to 5, I never could have that freedom and that flexibility. And so again, that ability to be there with my kids, to build this like adventurous, fun life has been my why. But I want to know from you, what is your why, right? Like, what is your freedom life? And I think it's honestly really important to start here. We're going to get really practical. We're going to talk about services and pricing and packaging and marketing inside of this full comprehensive training. But none of it matters if you don't have something driving you. Because here's the reality, guys, is that entrepreneurship is hard. Like, I'm not here to sell you some pipe dream that like this is easy money that's always going to be sunshine and rainbows. No, it's difficult sometimes. It's difficult if you have to fire a client. It's difficult if you know, are starting to doubt yourself, or if you lose a discovery call, right? Those things can be really difficult. And so what is so important is that you have a why driving you. So take a moment, even if you have to pause the video, and put in the comments, what does the phrase freedom life mean to you? And really take some time to think about it. You can even copy paste that or write it on a note and stick it on a sticky note right on your computer or wherever you're going to see it, because that's going to keep you going even when things get difficult. So I was sharing a little bit of my story, right? I was looking for this way to make money working from home, and a friend actually suggested that I look into virtual assistants. Now, I had never even heard of virtual assistants before. You guys, like, literally Googled it that night. But I started looking into what it was and thought, I think maybe I could do this, right? So the next day I started calling myself a virtual assistant. And the craziest thing happened, guys. I did a few of the things that we're going to talk about in the marketing section of this tutorial. Don't worry, we'll get there. But because I took some small, brave actions, within 30 days, I had fully booked out my services. In fact, I had so many people wanting to work with me that I started to get other moms saying, hey, if I bring in the clients, will you do some of the work? And I built a team of subcontractors. I'm literally living in a basement apartment and built this little mini agency. And my husband is like, what is going on here? Especially when I went on to replace his income, right, with this business. It was insane. It was such a game changer for our family, right? And so that really inspired me. It inspired me because I thought other people could do this too. And I started having people asking me, especially a year or two in, how did you do this? Like, what did you do? And that is when I started training other people as well. So while I continued to run my agency, I started training other people to start their own virtual assistant businesses as well. And that's where, that leads us to here, right now, 10 years in, thousands of students, thousands of successful stories, people have been able to quit their job, people who have built 6, 7 figure businesses because of this work from home revolution. Sarah, who says, I want to say hip hip hooray, with only 1 week into the course, I've booked 2 clients. I have 2 more prospects. Stephanie, who just signed an ongoing client for almost $1,000 a month. Amy, who said, I never knew what I was capable of in the world of virtual assistants, or even where to get started, that I lay it out step by step for her, and that, you won't regret this journey. Jackie, who said, going strong in my business 6 years because of what she learned inside of the Savvy community. And you see these Be Bold t-shirts and mugs, guys. That's what our inside of our coaching program, that's what we do, is that when you take those bold actions, whenever you first send out your first client outreach, we're going to send you a t-shirt. When you book that first client and actually get your first paying client, you're going to get the mug from us, right? We celebrate these big, bold actions. But here's the problem, right? Millions of people right now feel stuck in jobs that they hate, working long hours for somebody else's dream. And maybe you've tried other things. I know for me, I tried a couple of different things. I sold jeans online. I would buy jeans at thrift stores and resell them online. I tried to start a freezer kitchen party business. None of it took off, right? If nothing else has worked for you, it's honestly probably a lot because of the business model. And we're going to get to this, but virtual assistants is such an amazing business model. And a lot of the other business models that are out there require a lot of upfront costs, years of learning, or honestly, just plain luck. Virtual assistants isn't like that. It's a skill-based business. You can start with zero investment, just the skills that you already have. If you're trying to quit your job, right, to replace your income, that might have meant spending thousands on a degree to land another job that you might not even love, taking a huge risk, starting a business that may or may not work out, or hoping for a miracle like a lottery win, right? Which is not really a great way to practically change your future, right? It'd be nice, but that's not reality for most of us. The new way, honestly, is simple. If you offer in-demand services online as a virtual assistant, businesses everywhere are needing your help. with the tasks that you already know how to do. So what I'm going to be breaking down inside of this free virtual assistant training is my Savvy income replacement model. And it's honestly fairly simple because virtual assistants is a fairly simple business model. You've got to start with the skills that clients want. And the great thing is, guys, is that you literally already have these skills. And I'm going to show you what they are inside of this training. You have to have a scalable income plan. And that's where I find, other businesses, like if I were to sell, ebooks on Etsy, or I was to open a e-commerce store, right? These businesses are really built off of one-time sales. So I could sell a $17 ebook, right? Great. But how many am I going to have to sell a day, and then a week, and then a month? I'm going to have to keep selling over and over and over and over and keep getting more and more people, where I'm going to show you inside of this training how most virtual assistants can replace their income with 4 clients, right? 4 yeses. And it's reoccurring income too. So those 4 people are paying you every single month. And that's why it's just such a great business model. And then you need a winning marketing strategy, right? You can have the skills, you can have the packages already, that reoccurring revenue model set up. But if you don't actually have a way to get clients to pay you, a way to get those 4 to 7 clients, then it's not going to work. And so I'm going to be breaking down marketing inside of this training as well. So let's start here. Let's start with, what is a virtual assistant, right? Because maybe you are brand new to this whole concept, like I was in the beginning, and you're really trying to figure out, what is this thing? Well, a virtual assistant is any type of remote assistant that provides administrative, creative, or technical support services for business owners, right? I like to liken it to a secretary or receptionist, an admin that would come into your office for a small business owner and do tasks. But if any of those tasks could be done remotely, you could be doing them as a virtual assistant, right? We are remote administrative specialists. So some of the common services offered by virtual assistants are things like sending and scheduling emails, social media graphic creation, right? If you ever used Canva, oh, we love Canva. I created these slides in Canva. Social media scheduling, writing, blogging, content creation, website upkeep, calendar management, webinar live workshop assistance, customer service emails. Guys, is one of the first things that small business owners outsource is, instead of answering, we literally get hundreds of emails a week at the Virtual Savvy. And so I have a virtual assistant that is answering those emails for me. A lot of times they'll pass on the really good ones to me, celebrating your stories and things like that. But that's been a huge lift off my plate, right? To be able, if somebody needs to change their account information or is looking for a resource, I have somebody answer those emails for me, right? Travel research and booking, appointment setting. Is there even one service on this list that you think that you could offer, right? That's a hint that maybe I could actually do this. Now, the cool thing is that once you kind of get into this world, once you realize, oh, I can offer virtual assistant services, and you start offering those general admin services, which are the ones I listed before, a lot of times you will find, a client will ask you to do something like manage their Pinterest. And even if you've never done it before, you can say, hey, I've never done that before, but I'm a quick learner. I'd be happy to, look at your process and try to take it over. And so literally by just working for other people, you can expand your skills. And sometimes our VAs will go on to specialize in things like Pinterest management, Instagram management, Facebook ads, launching online courses for their clients, or online business management, bookkeeping, proofreading, graphic design, web design, affiliate management. Right now, again, I don't want you to feel like you need to offer any of these services right now by any means. So I didn't know what any of these things were or how to do them when I first got started. And most of my students don't either. But I want you to see how you can eventually specialize and even raise your rates once you kind of get into this whole world, right? Now, despite what you might think, most clients hiring for their very first virtual assistant are not looking for someone to even handle those high level technical tasks, okay? Really, when people are looking for their very first VA, it is most often for those general admin tasks. And guys, I want to reassure you, I had no idea, like literally no idea what I was doing when I first got started. I don't want you to think that I had like, oh, well, Abbey, she was the exception. She had like all this expertise. No, I was an online advisor for a university, that was it. Like I'd help people pick out their classes and things like that. It wasn't anything exceptional. It wasn't that I had all of this experience. No, I was a new mom and I was a nanny and I had previously worked as an academic advisor and that was it. I guess I worked at Starbucks too. Like those were my talents, right? But I really had skills. And I think that that's a huge part of what I love to help people realize is that you do have the skills that paying clients want. And honestly, I had fears that came up in this, and you, even in the very beginning of this training, may already have some fears that are coming up, right? For me, I was afraid that this was just going to be another thing that I started and then quit. I was a little bit of a serial entrepreneur, right? Like I had tried a lot of things and announced another business, right? And oh gosh, what if I start this and this doesn't work either? What if I start this and it's another thing that I just do and then quit? But this time, like I said, I had that why. And that's why we started with the why. We started with what is your freedom life? Because for me, I had that little tiny baby about to be coming into this world, right? And I knew this was my future. This is what I'm working for. I want to be home with my littles. And so for me, that was the driving force. And like I said, you've got to know your why. You've got to know what your driving force is because that is going to keep you going. It's going to help you when you have those fears. So I decided I'm just going to do it. I'm going to start with the skills that I already have. And again, guys, my skills that I started with were simple. In fact, I just started with these 5. I started with email management, calendar management, data management, customer service, and community management. Now, what are these? I'll break them down really simply for you. Email management is literally just answering those customer service emails. Like I said, somebody emails into the virtual savvy and says, hey, I need to change my account information. I got a new email, or where is this video that you posted on YouTube? And I have somebody that will send those links along for them, right? And what's cool about this, guys, is think about this. Your clients are already answering their own emails. So it's not that you have to come in as an expert. You literally just have to take over the process they're already doing. So I think sometimes we're like, oh, I have to know and be an expert at email management. No, could you take over and just with a day of training, learn somebody else's system? I'm sure that you could. Calendar management, right? And this is really simple as well. It's literally when somebody's like, hey, I want to book a meeting with whoever your client is, you do that back and forth instead of them, right? Here are some times, here's their availability. You could set up a calendar management system for them. I know that Google now has one that you can actually choose the time that you meet with your client. Simple tools like this that we can teach you that is really, really easy to do. Data management. And honestly, this is spreadsheets. As the owner of a multi-million-dollar business, guys, we have so many spreadsheets. We have so many spreadsheets. And even though some of it gets filled in automatically, honestly, we have people that literally go in and just fill in data. It's just taking the information that's over here, putting it in the spreadsheets. Customer service. So this could be beyond just email, right? So email is definitely a part of customer service, but it might also be inside of a Facebook group or on Instagram, on LinkedIn, right? Responding to comments. In fact, if you're commenting below, it might be me or it may be Jamie, our VA, who is responding to your comments, right? Customer service can look like a lot of different things. And then community management. Like I said, so many businesses now have online communities. I know that we have a huge one over on Facebook. In fact, if you guys want to join our free community, I will link to it in the notes below this video. We have literally over 140,000 members at the time of this filming inside of that community. Free jobs are posted in that community every day. So definitely go check that out below. But we need people to help manage that community because we literally get hundreds of new members every single week. And we have to make sure that people aren't spamming the group. We have to kick out the spammers, right? We want to respond to comments. We ask questions and we schedule engagement prompts inside of that group. And all of it takes work, right? All of it takes work. And that's where you can come in as a VA and take those tasks. So again, these are 5 simple, essential skills. So even if you don't know how to do them yet, do you look at these skills and think, man, maybe I could learn those, right? Maybe I could, with a quick tutorial from my client, learn how to do these skills. I'm sure that you could. I want you to leave this training with that overwhelming feeling of, I can do this. In fact, I just would love for you in the comments right now of this video to just write in all caps, I can do this. This is a declaration that, like, man, I may not know everything, but I can learn anything, right? I want you to remind yourself of that every time you start to fear, do I have what it takes to really do this business? I love our shout outs, guys. Over on Instagram, every single Wednesday, we do shout outs of people who are having huge strides. So definitely follow us on Instagram. You are going to see those wins every Wednesday. Get it, Wednesday? But Maureen said, I've signed 2 clients. My second client just signed at my top package and raised my rates for the second client. It really works. I'm so happy to be able to support my family while being home with my little ones. You can tell her why right away. So I want to go over a few more things about virtual assistants that I think is really important for you to know from the get-go. As a virtual assistant, you're going to be considered an independent contractor. So what is an independent contractor? Well, it means that you set your own hours, you'll set your own rate, you decide when, where, and how you'll work, and you'll create your own systems for working, including invoicing, payments, etc. So what the biggest distinguisher is here, guys, is that you are not an employee, right? And that is really important as you start to market your business, is that you understand and that your client understands that you're not an employee. Okay. And so what is an employee? An employee, is told when, where, how they'll work, right? They accept a job because it is, $15 an hour or whatever, $20 an hour, right? I think of it, and I know this is kind of a weird example, but it's just for some reason the best one I've come up with. Think about a plumber, right? Like if I need a plumber to come to my house, I don't call up the plumber and say, hey, I need you here Tuesday at noon. I'm going to charge you $50, or I'm going to, I'm going to pay you $50 an hour. And you need to come in and fix, this is how you're going to fix it. And I have the tools for you. Like, that's ridiculous, right? Like none of us would do that, right? And so I want you to remember that example when you're trying to think of what is an independent contractor. You are your own business hours. So you get to dictate, this is when I work. If you want to go and do your work at 2 a.m., by all means do that, right? If you want to work on Saturdays and Sundays only, by all means do that. It's your business. You get to decide, right? And so you will communicate to your clients, hey, these are my working hours. This is my response time, right? You don't need to respond within an hour to every single email that your client sends you, right? And this is part of working with clients. And this is some of the things that we go through with our students, is learning, like, how do I actually set my clients up for success? I'm going to communicate those boundaries really, really early, right? This is how I work. Hey, this is my rate. And you will communicate that to your client, and then they'll accept it or not, right? And so, which we're going to go into how to set your rate here in a little bit. So that is what an independent contractor is. And I think it's really, really important, guys. Here's what you need. I'm going to break it down really simply. Like, if you're asking yourself, do I have what it takes? Here's what you really need to start a virtual assistant business. You need a computer, right? Decently fast internet. Like, if you don't have a computer, people ask me, like, can I do this from my phone? Can I do it with a tablet? Honestly, I would say no. I would say no. Now, again, sometimes the obstacle is the way, and it's like, okay, I don't have a good working computer. How could I combat this, right? I know that there have been people that, like, they decide, they save up, and like that is their big investment for their business, right? Is going out and buying a nice laptop. It can totally be a laptop. It doesn't have to be a desktop by any means. Or they will, I mean, we've even had students that literally every day just go to the library and use the computer to market their business, get their first paying client, and then go and buy a laptop with those funds. So, there are ways, but I do think that you do need a good computer and decently fast internet. You need an element of figure it outedness, right? And yes, I made up that word, but I think it's that kind of that mentality of, I may not know everything, but I can learn anything, right? Like, are you good at Google? Like, are you good at just, if I don't know how to do something, I YouTube it, right? Like that just, I can figure it out, I think is really important. And that is going to help you along this journey. You've got to get over not knowing it all. The people that I see, again, we've trained over 7,000 students in our program. And so we have so many of our students who just take off and go and run. And we have students that do struggle. Like, I'll be honest with you. And the number one trait of the people who struggle is this one. They think they have to know it all to get started. It's like, oh, I just need to watch another video. I need to take another tutorial. I need to take another class before I start marketing my services. Guys, if you work with me and my team, like if you choose to work with us in a coaching capacity, we are going to hold you to the fire. We're going to try to get you to start marketing as fast as possible, because the quicker you can get that marketing ball rolling, the faster you're going to find success, the more you're going to find clients, which means we're going to push you to market even when you don't feel ready. Even when you don't feel like, I don't know enough to get started, because the best way to learn is on the job. The best way to feel confident in your services is just to start working with clients. So that is something that we do. So I just need to go ahead and preface that. At the very end of this video, I will share with you, if you want to, work in a coaching capacity with me and my team, I will present that opportunity for you. It's not required by any means, but if that is something you're interested in. Okay, you do need to be okay with releasing a non-polished product, okay? One of the things that we say all the time here at the Virtual Savvy is action over perfection. Okay. So I'm a self-proclaimed perfectionist, and I know how easy it can be to be tempted to just get everything perfect, right? Like, oh, I can't really send out my portfolio. I can't announce my business on Facebook yet because my logo's just not right. Or I'm going back and forth on this business name, or I just don't know if I feel 100% about my packages and pricing. Guys, you can always change it. Like, everything is a draft one, right? Like, I cannot tell you how many times I have pivoted my business. And I see people make this mistake a lot, is that they're like, they just feel like it all has to be perfect before they start announcing it. And guys, it's never going to be there. It's never going to be good enough. And so you've got to, now I'm not saying don't be excellent, right? Like, we want to produce excellent work, but at a certain point with it, if it's at 80, 90% of how perfect you think it could be, it's time to release a non-perfect product, a non-polished product. Okay. And then lastly, you do need the time to commit to the business. And this is just really practically, I have people ask me all the time, like, Abby, how much time do I need to commit to this business? And I believe that you need at least 5 dedicated hours per week to work on your business. So dedicated hours, not distracted hours. Distracted hours would be, like you're working with like your kids tugging on your shirt, asking you for juice. Like, that's distracted hours. You need 5 set aside hours. I call them deep work hours, right? Where you're really able to work on your business without distraction. Now, I know that's hard, but remember, I was a new mom when I started this as well. I had a 2-year-old. And so it meant working during nap times, waking up a little earlier, asking my hubby to, watch the kids for an hour or two while I went to a coffee shop. Like that, I had to carve out that time. So let's just talk a little bit about time, because, like, most of the people who come into my program are women. Now, everyone is welcome here, right? But just as women, we tend to give of ourselves so much, and we don't always carve out time for ourselves. So I really want to dig in and talk about this, because the only way you're going to build this business is if you actually make the time to do it. Okay. Which means it's time to say yes to you in your time. We don't say yes to ourselves. Some of us aren't even taking care of ourselves because we're so busy loving and serving other people, which I think is beautiful. But also, one of the best ways to love others is to love yourself and to say yes to you and your goals and your dreams as well, right? There is room. You can be mom and business owner. You can be friend and business owner, right? You can be employee and business owner even for a little while, right? And so what would it look like for you to say yes in your time? This is a harsh reality, and it's something that I had to look at myself, and I've had to look at myself several times and ask, like, I'm stressed. I feel like I'm having to do it all. I do all the things. I'm doing so much. If I'm stressed about having to do it all, honestly, I should probably be doing less. Oh, right? Some of us should just be doing less. And there's things that you've probably said yes to that you should be saying no to, so that you can have the time and the ability to build something for yourself. So I want to bring you through a brief activity called the Savvy Time S.A.V.E.R formula, right? And this is just a way to look at and evaluate your time. So what it looks like is, first, you're going to set your non-movable. So what I like for people to do, and this can be something that you can pause the video and literally do it right now, or you can come back and do it later, but I want you to do it, right? You got to promise me that you'll do it. You put in the comments, Abby, I'll promise I'll do it. Or I'm doing it right now. Let me know in the comments. Okay. So what you're going to do is you're going to basically take an ideal week. Okay. I know not every week looks the same, you guys. I get that. But I want you to basically map out, and you can do this on a piece of paper. You can do this in like Google Calendar, wherever. I want you to map out what a typical week could look like. Again, I know it's not always perfect, right? Oh, that was weird. Okay, so what could a typical week look through? Literally, divide up your paper Monday through Sunday. What are the non-movables, right? I take my kids to school. I go to work, right? A 9 to 5, like whatever, right? What are the things that basically like have to happen? Okay. So maybe it's these, right? Maybe your non-movables is like, hey, we have dinner at 6 every night. I wake up and I help get the kids ready for school, whatever that may be, right? Then you're going to advocate for your self-care. And I put this in here because again, guys, so many of us don't do this. So what are you doing every single week to care for yourself? Maybe you go on a walk every morning. Maybe, it's friend time or date night with your spouse, right? That 9 a.m. Zumba class. You're like, okay, again, what we're doing is we're crafting what an ideal week would be for you. I know that things happen. I know that sometimes you're just not going to make it to that 9 a.m. Zumba, and that's okay, right? There's grace for all of us. But if you were to build out your perfect week, and I do this is an activity literally, even still 10 years later in business, I still do this a couple times a year, is I build out what is my ideal week. Honestly, usually there's one that's the school year, what my ideal week looks like in the school year, and then what my ideal week looks like in the summer, because they're very, very different. My schedule in the summer and during the school week, especially my kids are older now. My kids are 10 and 12, which is crazy at the time of this filming. And so my life looks a lot different than it did when I was a new mom, right? So this is going to look different. I'm showing you an example, but it's not what everyone's life looks like, right? Then you're going to avoid all the unnecessaries, right? Like, let's be honest. Are you spending an hour scrolling every night? If you were honest with yourself and you didn't spend that hour scrolling every night and instead you just went straight to bed, could you wake up an hour earlier so you could work on your business? Like, oh, it's time to like hold a mirror. Are there things? Maybe you have volunteered for the PTA club and it's just not a season for that anymore, guys. It's okay. It's okay to say no to things you previously said yes to because you're forming a new life for yourself. And so are there any commitments that you have, or just maybe some bad habits that you have, let's be honest, that you could take out if you were planning out your dream, your ideal schedule? The next is to evaluate that remaining time. How much time do you have left? Where is the gap, right? And in that gap, do you have 5 hours? Just 5, right? If you have more, that's great. I want you to hear that clearly. Like, we have people that come into our coaching programs with 5 hours a week. We have people that have 40 hours, right? Like, it's like, no, I'm ready to do this full time. I don't have other commitments, and that's great, right? So no matter where you're at, if you don't have those 5 hours at least to commit, then I want you to really look at your schedule and is there anything that could change, right? I know when I was starting my business and I needed 5 devoted hours per week, I had to ask for help. My mother-in-law, I would say, hey, one day a week, could you take the kids for just a couple of hours? I also would do like babysitting swaps, right? So like I had a really good friend who I trusted. Hey, could you watch my kid for 2 hours on this day? I'll watch your kids for 2 hours on this day, right? And so sometimes we have to ask for help, and that's okay, because again, in order to build your dream life, you're going to have to do something different than what you're doing right now. That's reality, right? You're not building your dream life right now. And so you have to do something different in order to build your dream life. So what is that, right? You've got to reserve your savvy time. And so what is the time that you're going to set aside to work on your business? And guys, I want you to carve it in. I want you to treat it like a real appointment, like a date that you cannot miss, right? And again, you need 5 hours at minimum, right? Now, this may look really different for different people, right? If you're doing this as a side hustle, you're not going to have that 10 to 2 slot that I just showed on the last example. It may look a little bit like this, right? Maybe you have an hour or 2 in the evenings and you've got a couple hours on a Saturday that you can work on. Maybe it's just you're waking up early every morning or working through your lunch break. Like, I know that it looks different for every person, right? This is what a side hustle might look like. This is what, if your kids are in school, this is what your week, your ideal week would look like, right? Maybe you can spend a little bit more time. Maybe if you have a baby at home, right? You're just working during nap times and sometimes it doesn't happen, and that's okay too, right? And so I want you just to carve out what would that ideal schedule look like for you guys. This is such a valuable assignment, and I really, really hope that you actually do it. Okay, here's another side hustle example. All right. And I also want to note this, guys, while we're looking at the side hustle example, I get it that it's a lot. If you're working a full-time job and you're trying to replace your income with virtual assistants, it's possible. We have so many of our students do it, right? Like, it is so possible, but it also can be a lot, especially once you start getting clients and you're still working. And so my advice for you, hear this really clearly. If you are working a full-time job, every dollar that you make I want you to pretend like it doesn't exist. And I know that that might be hard, but what I want you to do is I want you to put that money in an emergency fund, and we're going to call it your freedom fund, right? How much do you need in your freedom fund to quit your job? That becomes your target number, and that becomes the number one goal. Guys, let's say that you figure, maybe you need 3 months of income to feel confident, right? If you're making 5,000 a month, you need 3 months of income. You need $15,000 in that account. And guys, it could take, like, what if it took you a year? What if it took you 2 years to get to that point? But then you're able to quit your job and live your freedom life. Like, is it worth it, right? And so I really want you to come up with that freedom number. Now that freedom number could be less. Like, you can also, make money with your side hustle, pretend like it doesn't exist, drop it in an account. But you could also do things like reduce the amount you actually need, right? Are there personal expenses that maybe you do cancel that Netflix, right, account or whatever it might be. So I want you just to really think about, like, what is that freedom fund for you if you have a full-time job? Like, what is that? Because once you hit that number, boom, it's time for your 2-week notice. And that is a very, very exciting time, right? I love it. And then full-time VA, right? Maybe this is if you're able to just do this absolutely full-time. Maybe you're working it like it's a 9 to 5, right? And that's fine because you're working that 9 to 5 in your PJs, right? That's that life I'm living right now. I had to literally go shower to film this video. It's fine. Okay, so in order to commit your ideal, so that's your ideal week, right? I want you to plan it as if this is what a perfect week would be. What do you need to do to commit that plan to action, right? Like, maybe you're not doing the self-care thing, and you're like, oh, okay, I need to, I need to call a friend and say, hey, let's do that class this Tuesday we've been saying we're doing forever, right? Like, maybe you need to do the babysitting swap, or ask a mother or mother-in-law or, your dad or whoever for help with the kids one night a week, or the spouse. Like, I need to have a sit down with my spouse and let it know, like, hey, like, every single Saturday, I need to go to a coffee shop. Like, I just have to do this for us and for our family, right? So what do you need to do? Like, what's your action item based off of this activity? Guys, the secret to quitting your job isn't necessarily about finding the perfect idea. It's learning how to sell skills you already have to business owners that need them. This is such a high demand service. It's such a high demand business that you're creating. You just need a simple framework to follow. You've got to identify what you can do, right? You've got to find business owners who need the help. Hint, they are everywhere. And then you've got to offer your services, get paid, and grow your business. So let me break down some of that for you, right? Because you might be thinking right now, God, I'm not an expert, right? Like, I don't know how to do these services, but the truth is, honestly, guys, you don't have to. And I want you to hear that. I want you to hear that you don't have to do this. Let me show you actual job opportunities. Okay. So if you don't know, the students that work with us inside of our private coaching called the Savvy System Accelerator, the students who work with us in that 90-day coaching container get opportunities that aren't anywhere else. So we have people that literally come to us and say, I want to work with a Savvy, and we have tons of opportunities every single week that are posted in our private communities. And these are some of the jobs, real jobs that I took snapshots of. I obviously blurred out the name and email so everybody's not messaging these people, but these are real jobs. I want you to think, man, could I do this, right? Or could I quickly learn how to do this? Email management, check email 2 times a day, filter out subscription spam emails, highlight important emails, move receipt emails to designated folders. Social media engagement, so literally like responding to comments on YouTube. Social media coordination, so posting and scheduling things on, like on Meta, like I need to schedule a post to go out. Minor graphic design needs in Canva. Inbox management, calendar management, light graphic editing using Canva, scheduling content, including social media, emails, blogs, conducting research on various topics. Okay. Could you find yourself doing these types of tasks? Now, when I was first getting started, I had to first discover what services I was going to offer, right? And then I had to decide on my pricing and my packaging. And I did the math and I realized I could replace my income with just 4 clients, which was so amazing. And so I want to break it down for you, right? Many virtual assistants can start their rates at $30 to $40 an hour. And that's where most of our VAs come in at. So I just want to be really honest with you, is that most of our VAs come in and are around that $30, maybe up to $40 an hour mark. And I'll show you some examples. Feel free to screenshot these. These are our real students creating packages. Okay. This is what a package looks like when you are a virtual assistant starting out, right? There's tons of different ways to do packages. I can't get into all the ways. Oh my gosh, I could probably do another hour-long training just on pricing and packaging. But this is just how I recommend 95% of people start. Okay. Is that you're going to do blocks of hours, and you're going to have like all my services are included, right? Like you're going to get all the things I can do. So you list out all your services. These are all the things I can do. And then you're going to buy you're going to sell blocks of hours, right? So 10 hours, $399 a month, right? And so her rate is $39.90. If you haven't caught that for this first package. And what the person gets in exchange is 10 hours a month, right? And what's so cool is that you're not just selling a $399 package, right? Every single month, you can set up a reoccurring invoice to be sent to this person. And so you're not just signing a $399 client, you're signing $399 per month, right? So if you need 5K a month to leave your job, then you need to sell how many of tier number 1 or tier number 2 in order to make that happen, right? Okay, let me show you another example. Jessica, who her smallest package is $400 a month, which is 10 hours. So again, about a $40 per hour rate. So you guys seeing like kind of how this works. And some people will do like, the higher package, you get a discount on the hours or quicker response time. That's what Jessica did here, right? And all of that's up to you. But I just want you to see generally how the base packages work. So here's what I recommend. I recommend if you're going to start at that $30 an hour that you have 3 packages. I really love when people's smallest package is 20 hours per week, because honestly, that is 20 hours a month. These are monthly packages. I really love when people's smallest package is 20 hours a month, because that's 5 hours a week. I feel like it's really hard to do a lot for a business owner in less than that. But what's cool about this, if somebody comes in and they see that your smallest package is $600 a month, it's like, oh, I can't really swing that. You can always have a secret package, right? Like I could have a 10-hour package that's $300 a month that I kind of keep in my back pocket. That's like, okay, so you're not lowering your rate. You're not like, okay, I'll give you 20 hours for $300. No. You're not going to cut your rate in half, please. That's only $15 an hour. But you could say, I really want to work with you. I think we really click. I don't offer this to everybody, but I do have this other package, right? And so that's why I really like when people have their smallest package be 20 hours, because then it leaves you some negotiating room on the back end. So these are, this is what this looks like, right? And I want you to see, that highest package, $2,400 a month. If I sold 2 of those, now granted, that would be working 40 hours a week. That'd be about 4,800, right? But that may replace your income. Like for me, when I was getting started, that was enough to replace my income. That's all that I needed, right? But I didn't end there, which we'll talk about here in a second, right? Like I didn't cap my income there, because I went on to build a multi-6-figure business from my basement apartment, and it wasn't by doing all the work myself and charging $30 an hour. So we're going to get there. Don't worry. But this is how I tell most people to start, right? And you got to let yourself be a beginner. Let yourself get one client like this, right? And then we can move on, right? So I'm just going to tell you, most people are going to go towards your middle package. Like that's sales psychology tells us that have these different pricing. Even if your biggest package is huge and you're like, oh my gosh, who would give me money for that? It's price anchoring, and it's going to make people look at your center package even more. So let's look at that center package. Okay. If I was charging $1,200 per client, and I got 4 clients, that'd be $4,800 per month, right? Which is $57,000 annually. Now, guys, that may be enough. You may be like, whoa, that would replace my income. For some of you, it wouldn't, right? We all come different places. But there's a lot of things that I want you to consider inside of this, right? One, it doesn't factor in money saved in commute expenses, right? So you may actually need less working for yourself. The fact that you're going to have a flexible work schedule. Some of us are able to do this now while, raising our family or other commitments that we have. Potential savings of childcare costs. I know that was a huge one for me. I want you to also hear this, the ability to raise your rate over time, because this is $30 an hour, but many of my students start at 30, move to 35, 40, 45, 50. And then if they earn some of these advanced services, like for me, I started as a general virtual assistant. I had a client ask me to do copywriting for them, didn't even realize I loved it, and then started doing copywriting where I was charging $60, $75 an hour, right? Okay. So I didn't know that from day one. I wasn't a copywriter, but I learned that skill over time. So I was able to raise my rates. That's why I'm like, just let yourself start here with general virtual assistants, but it doesn't have to be where you end. And then here's the biggest part, guys, is growing your business beyond yourself using subcontractors. So again, the examples I gave you, so replacing, that 40 hour, let me go back to it. Okay. So 2,400 a month, that is 40 hours, or sorry, that's 20 hours a week, right? If you can only work 20 hours a week, well, then your income's capped at 2,400, right? But if you have subcontractors doing the work, and this is what I did, I told you I built that little mini agency for my apartment. And so my rate at that point was about $40 an hour. And I was giving my subcontractors $12 to $15 an hour, right? And so they would do the work and then I would make the money. I would just check it before I sent it on to my client. And then I was literally getting paid for work I wasn't even doing. Do you start to see how like magical? Plus I was providing a job for another mom. Like I thought that was so cool too. And so that's what like this can really start to compound. And my students, I'm going to be really transparent, the ones who have gone on to make 6 and 7 figures from this business, most of them have a team. Okay. Some of them just do high-end services themselves. Like they'll start building websites at $10,000 a pop, or so they'll learn like a really high-end skill that you don't necessarily need a team. But most of my students who are really making significant, like crazy money from this, they have a team. Okay. Don't have to. Again, you may just look at that center package and be like 10 hours a week. I just need one of those. An extra $1,200 a month would allow my family to pay off debt or go on vacation or whatever, right? Like maybe that's all you need in this season. And that's what I love about virtual assistants too, guys, is that it's so flexible. Like you can literally, this can be as big or as small as you plan for it to be. So I think that's really cool. So subcontracting is huge. That's one of the things that I did from day one. It's people ask me like, when is the right time to subcontract? And you can get your business to a certain point and then start subcontracting. I literally, my very first client, but I was 6 months pregnant. So I knew that I had a deadline of like, I'm literally not going to be able to do the work. So I built a team from day one. So you can totally do that as well. Okay. All right. I want to show you some high-end services because I talked about, you can raise your rates. How I raised my rates was I started offering some copywriting services. So I wanted to show you examples of other high-end services. This is Caitlin. So Caitlin started a newsletter optimization service. So she would actually like create people's freebies, emails, all of that. So this may have taken her 10 hours. But she's charging $800. So that is, $80 an hour. And so just an example of how you can turn some of these things into higher end packages. Vanessa, who she started branding herself as a chief efficiency officer, right? Which I think is really, really cool. And so she started working with, honestly, mental health professionals, and she became their practice manager. So she would do $1,800 a month, and she would do all of these things. So she would basically like manage their team. She would come in, as like an operations person in their business, right? And so she didn't even necessarily charge hourly. So she's making hundreds of dollars an hour because she's not even really charging hourly. She's charging based off of the results that she gives them, right? Social media management is the same way. It might take you 10 hours per month to post on these different platforms. So your rate would be $95 an hour. What's cool about package-based pricing like this, and again, most of my VAs, I tell them to start with the hourly and then eventually add on a service like this. So I'm not telling you to do this from day one, but I just want to see how this can grow, is that let's say it takes Angie 10 hours a month to complete the service, right? But eventually she gets so good at it that it takes her 5 hours a month, right? So instead of making $95 an hour, now she's making double that. So I want you to see what's possible, or even better, right? She's charging $950 a month for it, and she's paying a subcontractor $300 a month. And so she's doing none of the work and making $650 a month from it, right? So again, this is what can happen when you start to kind of think bigger. Now, you might be listening to this and be thinking like, Abby, that is awesome, but I don't know those services. That's okay. You don't need to. Remember, We start with the essential five, the data entry, the customer service emails, right? That's what we're going to start with. And you can start, guys, with just a simple hourly rate. And if you're like, oh, $30 an hour, I don't even know, like, I don't even feel confident charging that. Okay, then start at 20. Like, I don't want you to stay there. Please don't stay there, but get your first client at $20 an hour. If that's what feels confident and you're going to be able to like confidently charge that. And then your next client, charge them $22.50. Next one, 25, right? Maybe you get really brave and your next one's at 30. And so you can do this incremental pricing and just raise your rates with each new client. Now, you don't raise the rates for the current client. I really recommend that whatever rate you sign a client on, you keep that rate for at least 6 months before raising their price, right? But I'm saying with each new client that you sign on, your rate, you're just increasing your rate little by little. And you can do this even if your rate is starting at $30 an hour, right? Get your first one at 30, second one at 35, third one at 40, right? So you can do this incremental pricing, and that has really been a game changer for a lot of our students. Like Sarah, who said, I just hit the 3-month mark since launching. I booked my 6th client. June will be my first 2K plus month. And as one of my May clients has booked a long-term higher value contract, July will likely be my first 5K month. I never expected it to go so well so quickly. So I want to take a pause because we've made it about halfway through this training. And I want you to ask yourself, do I think that this might be a right fit for me, right? Not that I know everything, not that I'm 100% confident, but do I think that this could work? And I want you to put in the comments 1 through 5. 1 being like, oh no, I'm probably going to go ahead and close out this video. 5 being like, oh my gosh, like, yeah, this is for me, right? Go ahead and let me know in the comments. All right. So we've talked a little bit about these skills that clients want. We've talked about that scalable income plan, right? How virtual assistants is honestly just such a beautiful way to make monthly reoccurring revenue. Guys, monthly reoccurring revenue is like the creme de la creme of business. Like, have you seen that so many businesses are trying to adopt reoccurring revenue models? This is why subscription boxes blew up. It's like, instead of buying one razor, what if we could get people to buy razors every single month and just pay them on a subscription, right? Like, monthly reoccurring revenue is just such a game changer. It's why Panera Bread has their like drink club now, because they're getting monthly subscriptions from people, right? And so I just want you to hear, like, this scalable revenue model is one that is really, really one that works. Okay. Let's talk about marketing, because that is the third part, right, of the Savvy income replacement model. And this is where a lot of my clients struggle, or think they're going to struggle, at least when they're just getting started, is with that marketing strategy. So let's go ahead and talk about it. When I first started my business, one of the things that shocked me was how quickly I was able to find clients, because people were literally waiting for me to offer my services. Like, I cannot tell you, it is 2026 at the time I'm filming this training. You might be watching it later, but people are still literally coming up to me and saying, like, when I say, you know, I train virtual assistants, or I'm a virtual assistant, oh, what's that, right? It's like, what? How do you not know? How do you not know now what this is, right? And then when they hear what it is, they're like, oh my gosh, I need that. And so especially business owners are like, oh, I need that in my life. People need VAs and they're still looking for them, right? And there is enough work for all of us. It's the number one objection, though, that my new VAs bring to me, is that I just don't know where to find clients. So let me show you a few things, right? First of all, I want you to know there's no shortage of freelance jobs. There are 72.9 million people in the US right now who are freelancers, right? That is 43% of the workforce, which is actually by 2028 supposed to be up to 90 million, 57. That means that, guys, there's going to be more freelancers than there are employees by 2028. What blows my mind about that is that it just really shows you that people are getting more and more used to like hiring people that aren't employees. Like, we were in a different world than we were 10, 15 years ago, where it's like you get a job and you work there and you retire, and you know, like that's like what's typical. And what's typical now is like remote work, flexibility, hiring contractors. Like, it just doesn't look the way it used to work, and people are realizing that. The number of freelancers in the US is continuously growing. 65% of freelancers say they earn more now than they did when they had an employee or an employer, and the median rate for VAs is $30 to $32 per hour. And this rate is higher than 70% of the workers in the overall US economy. Okay. So where do we find clients? Let's talk about it. So the number one way, and this is one of the many activities, guys, we focus with our private coaching clients. We do a lot with marketing. Like that is one of the main things that we focus on. We really try to get your business. It's a 90-day program. We try to get your business set up in 30 days, right? That means choosing your business name, your logo, all of that, your services, your packages. We put it together in a portfolio. We try to get all that done in 30 days so we can spend the next 60 days just supercharged working on marketing. And so what we like to do is we start with a friends and family email. Now you may be thinking like, oh, I don't want to sell to my friends and family, right? And like, I get that, right? It's actually a reason I never did MLM, multi-level marketing. Like I never sold Pampered Chef or leggings or any of that because I didn't want to sell to my friends and family. Like I knew what it felt like to be around those people that like every time you talk to them, they were talking about their MLM and I'm just like, I don't want that, right? I didn't want to have to sell to my friends and family. And that's not what we're doing here, guys. But you do have to let your friends and family at least know what you're doing. Like you got to announce your business and start telling people. The number one way that if you ask a virtual assistant who has been in business for like 10 years, like what's your number one source of client? Most of them are going to say referrals because the more people who just know about what you're doing, they can start telling people about your business. So even if your friends and family aren't business owners, right? Even if you only know 3 people, tell them about what you're doing, right? Like tell them. If you know a business owner, definitely tell them. And I want you to actually like think about it. Like close your eyes if you have to. Do you know one small business owner? Like, do you know just one? Maybe they're a real estate agent or a personal trainer or an insurance agent, right? Those people, the person who sells your insurance, where'd you buy your insurance from, right? They are their own business owners, right? Do you know one person who owns a business? Just like you know one person who owns a business, likely everyone you know knows one person that owns a business, right? And so just by telling your friends and family about what you're doing, you immediately expand your network. And guys, so many of our clients get their first, or so many of our students get their first client this way. Okay. So this is the template. It's my gift to you. Screenshot this if you want, right? But this is what I want you to send out. Now, it doesn't have to be an email like this. This could be an email. This could be like a DM conversation. It could be that you invite somebody out for coffee. It could be that you turn this into a social media post and let people know, right? But in some form or fashion, you got to tell people what you're doing. So here's an example. I do like it in the form of an email or like a letter. Hey, Sue, Bob, Mom, whatever. I hope you're having an awesome day. Put something personal, like, especially if it's like a DM conversation, like, hey, we haven't chatted in a while. I'd love to know what's going on. Like, I saw your son graduated high school. That's amazing. Whatever, right? Like, put something personal in there, right? And share some personal things in your life too. I also want to share something that's super recent is that I've decided to actually launch a virtual assistant business. I'm so excited about this. I found out about virtual assistants fairly recently. After reading more about it, it seems like such a perfect fit. I'm going to be helping small business owners with list your services, email management, data entry, right? Customer service, community management. As a virtual assistant, all the work I partner with them to do will be done remotely. Actually works out great for the small business owner too, as they don't have to pay for an office location, supplies, my taxes, or healthcare. I specifically wanted to reach out to you because, and then if they are a small business owner, say, I know you own a small business. I was wondering if there's anything about your business you've thought about outsourcing. That's it. You just ask. If they're not a small business owner, great. Hey, I thought you may just know of somebody who could benefit of these services. That's it. Okay. Just looking to see if you know anyone. Because the worst they can say is no, I don't have anything right now. No, I don't know anybody. If the person you're messaging is your ideal client, aka they're a business owner, say, hey, is that something you'd be interested in learning more about? If so, like, I'd love to chat. If they're not a business owner, say, does anyone come to mind? I'd be so appreciative if you could connect me with them. If not, no worries. I'd love for you to keep me in mind if you think of anybody. Okay. It's simple. It is low commitment on their part. Like, hey, anybody come to mind? That's it. But guys, this is so powerful. And I always tell people to not skip this step. One, it takes a lot of boldness. This is actually like inside of our private coaching program. When you send this email out, that's when you get your t-shirt, because we want people to be bold. Like it's kind of scary, right? Like to send this out. But when you do it, guys, it can be so, so powerful. share this story. I just started the Savvy system on Friday. I went through the Get Clients Now lesson, which is this. I sent out one personal outreach template to a business owner I know of, had a phone conversation with him about his needs, and boom, first client booked. Sounds like he's going to need me on a reoccurring basis. I cannot even tell you how happy I am. Thank you, Savvy system, and praise God. So cool. So cool, right? I want that for you as well. All right, let's move on because that's just one. I'm going to share with you actually 3 ways to get clients, because I want you to leave this training and go get your first client. Like, if that's what it takes for you to, I want to work with you. I'm not going to lie. I want to work with you, whether it's in our 90-day coaching program that is for people to get their first launch a business, get their first client in 90 days. That is our Savvy system. We also have a membership for people who already have their first client. In some way, I would love to work with you. So if you use this information to go out and get your first client, like, I've done my job, right? And so many people have. I cannot tell you. I've ran this training in a couple different capacities, and literally people have taken that email or taken one of the tips here and gone out and get their first client for free just from this training. So take action. Like, I'm giving you this for free so you can go and change your life with it, but you've got to take action. You've actually got to do it, right? So I'm going to share with you 3 methods. Inside our private coaching, we give you a lot more, but these 3 are super powerful, and you literally could get your first client just with these, right? So the second one is Facebook events and Chamber of Commerce. So this would be live networking. Okay. I know this is scary. Inside of our accelerator program, we actually have weekly group coaching. So you get on a call with us every single week, and you talk about your business. And we had somebody there that she's like, I'm an introvert and I went to my first networking event, and guys, it wasn't as scary as I thought, right? We always tell people too, we're like, bring a friend with you. Like, if you're an introvert and you're scared, like, just bring someone with you, right? You don't have to go to these networking events alone. But let me show you where to even find them if you're considering going to a networking event. The first place is Facebook. So literally I can go to Facebook and I can type in the word business just in the search bar, and then I'm going to filter by events. Okay. And you can, filter it even further by your location. So I live in Springfield, Missouri. And so that is like there's tons of events happening all the time. Look, Small Business Academy, 42 people interested, right? So it's really easy for me to find. I've actually been to that Courageous Business Connect a few times. It's awesome. There's usually 20 something people there every single week, and she does multiple groups a week. Like, it's crazy. So these groups are hiding, and you just have to find them. So one place to find them is via Facebook. Now, if you live a really, really, really small town, maybe, that doesn't come up, but could it be worth it once a month to drive 2 hours to the bigger town, right? To the big city. I used to live in the country, so I know how that is. Or could it be that, you start your own event? We've had somebody do that as well inside of our community, right? She started her own event, had 60 people show up to the first one, you guys, like, which is insane to me. And is literally already getting clients as a result. So all of these great ways to find clients. Live networking events, this is how to find them on Facebook. I also would encourage you to look up your Chamber of Commerce. So literally just Google your city and state Chamber of Commerce. And I know, like, for me, they have a couple events every single month that are absolutely free, that are for the community, but also, so a lot of times it's business leaders and also like leaders in the community. I went to a Chamber of Commerce event, and literally my friend who I went with, because I always try at least to snag a friend to go with me, so I'm not like, because there's something about saying like, here's who I am, here's my business. But if you have a friend saying like, she's being modest, she's amazing, blah, 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 it's awesome. So I went with a friend, and then my friend was like, oh, I want to introduce you to the mayor. I'm like, the mayor? Right? So it's kind of cool. It can happen when you start going to these events. Anyways, that's, so you can see like Springfield, Missouri, at least where I live, events. So that's another place. There's also a website called Eventbrite, that a lot of times will have live networking events listed as well. Okay. All right, let's go on to the third way, and that is via Facebook groups. Okay, so again, a little more friendly to the introverts, but I really, really, really would still challenge you to go to at least one live networking event, even if you're an introvert. Okay, so Facebook groups, I want you to join 10 groups. Okay, I'm going to show you how to find them. So again, we're going to go, well, here, I'll tell you about it in a second here, and then I'll go with that. Okay, so you're going to go back to that search bar on Facebook, and you're going to type in words like entrepreneur, business. If you could join local groups too, like Springfield, Missouri business, right? And then filter by groups. And I want you to find groups, guys, that have, if it's a big group, like if it's not a local group. Local groups, I'm okay if they're public groups. I prefer private groups, but public groups are fine. Um, or sorry, yeah. Public groups are fine if they are local. If it is a big group, meaning like over 10,000 people, then I prefer, and it's not local, I prefer private. Overall, I prefer private groups. Public groups just tend to have a lot more spam in them. But if it's a local group, I'm okay if it has less than 5,000 people. If it is a big group, like just, women business owners group, then I prefer for it to have over 10,000 people, and I prefer for it to be private. You're just going to find a lot more engagement, right? Because you want people actually posting. There's some dead groups out. There's a lot of dead groups out there, and a lot of spammy groups. So you got to kind of do your research to find like the good groups, right? And that's why I have you join 10, because it's not like you're going to be in all 10 of these groups. Like out of 10, you're in like your good groups, And so you can filter in, like, let's say you're a Christian. So you can have like Christian business owner, your woman business owners, if your ideal client is a real estate agent, join real estate groups. Or if you work with authors or fitness coaches, like join groups with those people as well. That works as well. You can join groups of like the tools that you use. So, if there's a Dubsado Facebook group, or, a Trello, I don't know if there are groups for these, but I'm just saying, like, you can look up those kind of things too. All right. So I want you to choose 10 groups, right? If you can't find 10, do 5, right? Like, don't let that be an obstacle. Okay. Once you're in a group, this is what's important. Hey, one group can be our VA Savvy's community. Like I said, there are jobs posted every single day inside of that group. So there's one group, one down. Okay. When you're inside of the group, here's what you're going to do. You're going to click on that little magnifying glass. Okay. So this is like such a cool hack. You're going to click on the magnifying glass, and then you're going to search for words like virtual assistant, VA, or help or hire. And here's what's going to happen is that what's going to pop up are posts that people have posted with those words in them. Okay. So let's say like you're going to get a ton of them. I would not search for those words in our big VA Savvy's group, because you're going to get like thousands, hundreds of thousands probably of results. But let's say I'm like in a real estate group, and I type in the word virtual assistant. What's going to pop up is potentially, right, people saying like, hey, I'm looking for a virtual assistant. Does anyone know of a good VA? Right? Cha-ching. Or that's why I like the words help and hire too, because maybe they don't use the word VA. I'm looking for help with my social media, or I'm thinking about hiring would be another one too. I'm looking to hire somebody to help me with sending out invoices. Okay. So do these searches and just let this be like a little morning routine for you, where you go in and you look at some of these different groups to find people who are looking to hire. Carla said, I followed the advice on where to find our ideal clients, Facebook groups. I did a search for a virtual assistant, discovered a current post where someone was looking for a VA. The discussion was between 3 women who all thought a VA was a great idea, but had no idea where to find one. It's like, yay. I researched their website. This is value first. This is one of the things that we teach inside of our accelerator program, is that you don't just say, hey, me, I'm a VA, right? Contact me, DM me, right? No, go above and beyond. Like, she researched their websites. She sent personalized emails to each one of them offering her service. I got a reply within hours. The one business owner was really impressed that I had found a broken link on her website. We had a discovery call last night. I now have my first client. She's someone I'm going to love working with. One of the things I love is Loom, Loom. It's a great way to show value first. Is that, let's say you come across a really amazing, like somebody saying like, I'm looking for a VA, but I don't really know where to find one. Instead of me, I'm available. Go and like research their website, their socials, do whatever, right? Like you find a way to give them some kind of value, and then record a Loom video. And at the very least, even just a Loom video of yourself and your face and like whatever. I'm actually using Loom to record this right now. So you kind of see what I look like. I'm sharing my screen and my face is in the corner. And so that is a really great way to just show value and to go above and beyond what everybody else is doing, guys. I see all the time there are posts, I'm looking for a VA, and 90% of people don't do value first. So if you just do that one thing differently, guys, you're going to stand out above the rest. Okay. It really, really works. Okay. So that savvy income model, gosh, we're going through a lot, aren't we? I told you this would be the ultimate training. We've talked about the skills that clients want, right? Yes, you have the skills, even if it's those 5 essential skills, or you could learn them very quickly. We know the income plan is good. The model works. It's monthly reoccurring revenue. And now I've given you 3 ways to find clients. I know that that's just a drop in the bucket. We have so many ways that we help our private students find clients. Literally take action. Take action. Like, dare yourself to see what could happen if I actually did the 3 tactics that Abby taught me. Could I get my first paying client with them, right? Now, obviously, what we covered in today's training was a lot, but I'm just telling you guys, it is just the tip of the iceberg, right? There is so much to starting an online business. We did not cover today legalities, right? How to have a contract with your clients, because yes, you need a contract with them. How to onboard your clients, or how to conduct a discovery call when someone says, I want to work with you. What are the next steps, right? You need to have a discovery call, and that's where you will actually sell them, and you will, collect payment, invoicing, taxes, right? We're just scratching the surface here in this video. And you can't just reverse engineer from the outside in, right? Like, if you're trying to piece together 100 different YouTube videos, like, kudos to you for being scrappy. And I think that that's awesome. But if you want a tried and true method, something that's linear, and you know that right now is the time to take control of your personal finances, I believe that virtual assistants is the best solution for that. You've been looking for flexible online jobs, piecing together these, blog posts and ebooks to try to start your own business, guys. I want you to know that there is another way. I've mentioned a few times our Savvy System Accelerator, and if you don't mind just me taking a few minutes to tell you about it, I would love to. This is how we work with our students in a 90-day capacity to launch their business and get their first client fast. Our students, I have a link to it down below. Actually, I have a secret link that's going to save you money down below. Use the link below this video if you want to check it out. Jennifer said, I took the course. I have 4 clients in the last year. It really does lay out how to be successful. 2 weeks in, I'm applying all the principles. I've spoken to 2 clients already. This investment I've made in myself and my future. I haven't got a month without income. It's a game changer for me. Within 3 weeks of implementing Abbey strategy, I got 3 clients. The Savvy system works if you take action, right? And that is the key. You have to take action. So let me show you what you're going to get, because it is a 90-day container, but inside of that container, you're going to get everything that you need to launch your VA business and land your first paying client fast. You're going to get the proven step-by-step program, which is 7 modules, a ton of lessons inside of those modules. It kind of works like an online course. So it has a video. So if you liked this video, if you like the way I teach the majority of the lessons, and then every single lesson is going to have an assignment with it. Okay. So you're never going to be wondering, like, what do I do next? Like, you will literally know, okay, I have to do this assignment before I move on to the next lesson. You're going to get 90 days of access to the actual group. This is our community. So you're going to be interacting with other VAs who are building their business at the same time. We have weekly fast track accountability calls. So every single week, you can come and ask our team questions. You can ask them inside of the community, but you're also able to ask them in a actual accountability call every single week. You're going to get access to our VA Essential Skills course. Guys, those 5 skills, we're going to teach them to you. We're going to teach them to you as if we are a client actually presenting the assignment to you. Like I'm going to pretend like we pretend like we're your client and giving you and you do it, and then you get a certificate of completion at the end, so you actually can say, hey, I am certified that I know that I can actually do these skills, right? You're going to get our legal templates and contracts, the actual contracts. We give them to you, created by an attorney specifically for virtual assistants. Please don't just copy and paste a contract off the internet. Please, please, please. Portfolio and pitch templates, right? 30 scripts, workflows, plug and play resources. If you need to fire a, if you need to raise your rates, if you want to ask for a testimonial, we have plug and play templates for all of those. Introvert friendly marketing strategies, templates for organizing your business, real discovery call recordings, milestones, celebrations. Like I said, all of the swag we're going to send you, the mugs, the t-shirts, all the things we celebrate with you, right? So what the modules actually look like is that we're going to, we have a welcome module where we kind of orient you to here's how the course works. Discover your skill set is a little bit, we scratch the surface of it, but you will actually choose your services. We actually have SavvyBot. So we have an AI tool that is going to ask you just a few questions about your previous work experience, and then it will spit out your services. And then another one that will spit out your packages for you. So you don't even have to do the work. It just does. Brand Academy, which is where we're going to choose your business name. We're going to make sure it's legal, that you're not infringing on somebody else's trademark. We are going to choose your logo, do your branding board, all of that. We're going to create a portfolio, and then we're going to create the processes. So when someone says, yes, I want to work with you, what, right? Well, we are going to have an onboarding call. We're going to, all of the things, we set all of that up with you. Payments, invoicing, taxes, you want to make sure that you're legal to start this business. So we point you toward all of the resources you need to actually run this business legit, legally, including the contract, guys. That's modules 1 through 7. Like I said, our goal is to get you through those 7 modules as quickly as possible. That way we can spend 60 days on the next 2 modules, which is all about marketing. Okay. And so you're going to get all of the tools. Again, that contract, you're going to get the VA template. Those are that personal outreach template was one of the 30 plus templates that are inside of there. Okay. A drag and drop portfolio. And this is a Canva, but instead of creating a portfolio from scratch, you literally just drag and drop your business name, your services, things like that into the portfolio that we went ahead and created for you. It does come with a workbook as well. It's a digital workbook. It's fillable. Some people do choose to like get it printed, goes or whatever, to have a physical workbook to work through if that's your thing. We have PACE plans, which we'll talk about in a second. The merch, the sweat we've already talked about that you're going to get. Let's take a moment to talk about PACE plans, because when I say you can launch your business fast, this is how it happens. Our goal is to do marketing as soon as possible. So if you have an hour per day, if you have 2 hours a day, 4 hours a day, 7 hours, like that's going to help you choose which PACE plan to do. So the slowest that we want to get you through those first modules is 4 weeks. Okay. That's the steady plan. So this is exactly the modules that you would take if you were to choose a steady plan. Okay? That's going to get your business launched in 20 days. Okay. But in about 4 weeks. So 1 month, boom, you're ready to start marketing. If you have a little bit more time, let's say you have about 2 hours a day or 10 hours a week, guys, that's why we did that time saver activity. So you know which one to choose. We're going to get your business launched in just 2 weeks, right? Let's say you have more time. You're able to commit 20 hours a week to this, guys. We're going to get your business set up in 1 week. And the reason why it's possible is all the templates, the tools, the AI that is literally just building this stuff for you. So we literally just like hand you so much of this. The AI tools we use are doing the work. Or my personal favorite is the launch retreat, where you say, honey, I'm going to go away for a weekend. I'm going to get an Airbnb, count that as a business expense, and I'm going to launch my business in 1 weekend, which is so fun when we get pictures from our students, the ones that do this, right? It's up to you. I'd love to know which would you choose, right? That steady plan, the sprint, the binge, or the launch retreat. Let me know in the comments which one you would choose. Angela is one of our case studies. She joined the Savvy System Launch Academy. She launched her business the same month, booked her first client in month 2, booked her second client in month 3, booked her third client, making it possible for her to leave her job in month 4. And then she was officially booked out, earning full-time income with business in 7 months. She said, if you put in the work, have the drive, the Savvy System works, do the work, invest the time it takes to create a business that is best suited for you and your skill set. So what is the cost? I mentioned that I had something special for you guys just because you've made it to the end of this very long training. It shows me that you are truly invested. So if you just go to savvysystem.com, you're going to see most likely the full price of this training, which is $597, right? But just for you guys, I have a special link that is going to get you an extra $100 off the course. So that is $497 instead of the $597. You can go to virtual.com/secret offer. That is just for you guys watching this video. Okay. That does also apply to our payment plan. So you can do the course for $497 up front, or normally it is 3 payments at $227, or at a discount, sometimes on promos, we do 3 payments of $197. We're going to let you save. And it's going to bring it down to $127 for your first payment. Okay. And so that is just a little gift for you. You can go to the virtualsavvy.com/secret offer. So again, it'd be $497 or 3 payments. The first one would be $127. The second 2 are going to be $197 each. Okay. Those are the 2 different payment options. If you guys use that virtualsavvy.com/secret offer, make sure it's reflected on the page that you're checking out. And if you have any questions, of course, you can reach out to my team. That is hello@thevirtualsavvy.com if you have any questions. And I'll post all these links down below this video as well. I want you to ask yourself, what would you do with an extra $5 a month, right? Like, what would that look like? Would you pay off debt? Would you go on vacation, right? Would you quit your job? What would it look like for you to have that extra income? And if that's something that you're really serious about, we would love to work with you to make that happen. Jamie started the course, launched her business, booked her second client by week 3 and her third client by week 4, and the Savvy system had paid for itself 10 times over. She said, I'm now 5.5 years into my VA journey. I'll be 100% debt free by the middle of 2026. I pay for vacations in cash instead of credit, and all because I control my income via my business. I never would have been able to do that before when salaried with an employer. So when I say finding Abbey and the Virtual Savvy changed my life, I really mean it. Oh my gosh, I love it. So everything I listed is not even all, guys. There is more. So we talked about the essential skills course, right? We're going to give you a mock discovery call training. So we do a discovery. We teach you, we give you all the templates, but if you want to see a live discovery call in action, that's what this is. We have a proposals that win workshop. You're going to get that certificate of completion at the very end of the course. Our private VA community, which actually has exclusive job ops in it. So we have jobs posted in that community that aren't posted anywhere else. We have our weekly coaching calls. Nail the sale training. This is going to show you how to nail a discovery call, right? Savvy your site when you're ready to build a website. It's not what we're going to have you do from day one, but when you are ready, that training is there for you. We have a Trello training, a time management training. And again, that's in addition to the 7 modules, all of the other resources that you're going to get, the templates, the legality, the swag, the workbook, the pace plans, right? That portfolio template, all of that is included. In addition to our Savvy Promise, guys, if you join the accelerator, you follow the roadmap and complete those steps and don't land your first client, we're going to continue working with you. So let's say life happens, which we understand, and you're not able to land a client in that first 90 days, guys, we worked with you up to an additional 6 months to ensure that you do, right? That's our Savvy Promise. Ariel said she joined the Savvy system, launched her business. She booked her first client in week 3. She said, we hit our first 10K month in June of 2024, reached 100K in annual revenue by October, and crossed the 200K in November of 2025. I scaled to a team of 10, plus took a full maternity leave. Today, I'm working just 10 to 15 hours a week as a CEO while raising my 3.5 and 3-month-old. Angie was able to quadruple her income, and she's met amazing people from TBS who are still on this journey with her. So let me answer some common questions. Again, if you have more questions, you can reach out to my team and I at hello@thevirtualsavvy.com. I will make sure we link that down below. What if I'm a complete newbie, guys? This is free. The Savvy System Accelerator, this 90-day group coaching program, is for you if you do not have a client yet, okay? Because the goal is to help you launch your business, land your first client, 90 days. That's the goal. If you have a client, you can check out our membership community, which we can link to down below as well. But that's the goal here, okay? So yes, this is for you if you're a complete newbie. You live outside the US, that's awesome. Again, the only 2 lessons that will be a little bit different are the taxes section, right? But we actually have a lot of resources, especially like we have a lot of Canadian resources, and we will link to other resources even for other countries. I'll show you where to go, even if we don't have that exact resource where we have. So we do have people from all over the world that take this training. Will it be a lot of work? Yeah, it will. Like, entrepreneurship isn't, and I'm going to just be really honest with you. Like, that's why we have you discover your why. That's why we have these weekly group coaching calls, to keep you encouraged, because sometimes it's discouraging. Sometimes it's hard, but we're going to help you get through it. What if the program doesn't work for me? That's why we have this Savvy Promise. If you don't get your client in that first 90 days, we will work with you another 90 days and then another 90 days, up to 6 months after, to make sure that you do. Here's what's possible with a plan and a like-minded community. Kaylee said, I can't believe it. 1 year, I stumbled upon Abbey and found about virtual assistants. Now a year later, I run a VA and OBM agency. I seriously tell my family I had no clue this is the path we'd be going down, but here we are. Someone pinch me. I'm literally living my dream life. I just thought I would post in the group that has helped me in so many ways. Hello, everyone. I just want to share a win. It's been 30 days since I tried being a VA. I have a client who I love, from studying full-time to working full-time, to studying full-time and working part-time as a VA. I've quadrupled my monthly salary. I just finished Module 7, I'm finishing up this weekend to launch my business. I have all the systems in place. I'm ready to hit the ground running. I'm so helpful for this community that's helped me get this done. The system does make it easy for you to everything you need. Vanessa, who said, thanks to this community and course, I have secured my highest paying retainer client to date, and she is a dream to work with. Guys, why is accountability so important? If you make a goal, did you know that you only have 10% of a chance of actually reaching that goal? Now, if you consciously decide, I'm going to, you actually increase your, just say, yeah, I have this goal. Whatever. I want to drink more water, right? But you're like, I'm going to drink more water. Then you have a 25% chance of completing. It's 40% if you decide when you will do it. I'm going to do this month, right? Or by this date in 90 days, right? You plan how you're going to do it. So you actually have a plan to follow. You increase it to 50%. If you commit to someone, that's what we're doing here. You commit to someone that you're going to, you tell someone else about it, 65%, guys, and listen to this. If you have a specific accountability appointment with a person that you've committed, you have a 95%. That is the power of these weekly coaching calls, is because you are committing to show up every single week to work the plan. You need a plan. Accountability, guys. You can get started for just $127, and then it'll be 2 more payments of the $197, right? Or $497, pay in full. Go to the virtual.com/secret offer. That's where you're going to get that secret offer that we've listed here. I hope that you've enjoyed this training. I know that it was jam-packed. If you learned something today, let me know in the comments what it was. Make sure that you subscribe to our channel. We are releasing free content like this all the time. I want to thank you so much again for being here. I hope to see you inside of the Savvy system.